Now, while working on a thesis on strategies to reduce the reoffending of traffic offences amongst motorists, Gary Doggett's interest in the subject turned into his passion. He went about setting up the Pro-Social Drivers Programme in Letterkenny in County Donegal. It's the first programme of its kind in Ireland, which aims to help people drive more responsibly. Good morning, Gary. OK, tell us about it. I want to get the title of it right. The Pro-Social Drivers Programme. Tell us what it is and what it aims to do. Because what I introduced there sounds very laudable, but in practical terms, what does it mean?
Well, if we just say how it came about, I suppose, when we were looking at ways of reducing reoffending in general terms, we were carrying out some research, and our organisation was approached by Inspector Harrison and Tim Cochran from the Probation Service, and they were looking for ways to reduce the high instances of reoffending for road traffic offences in Donegal. So as a result of that, we carried out some research, and we looked at what's happening in other countries to try and reduce the figures. And
what were the rates of Donegal, by the way?
You know, generally across Ireland, you're looking at 28.9% at the time, reoffending rate within 2 years.
So nearly,
you're looking at nearly a third of people are back in court again.
So they don't learn their lesson?
It would appear not.
Why not?
Well, do you know, our approach is we think that because you're not addressing the issues that cause the offence in the first place.
Or is it because we don't really think that traffic offences are a crime?
I suppose there's a large element of that too, because, you know, when we think of criminality, you tend to think of people going out with criminal intent, wanting to cause harm to other people.
There's more people killed on the roads than there is by criminals.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you.
Far more maimed and injured.
No, absolutely. This, I mean, particularly for us, we're very aware of the victims of road traffic offences, and that's important to us, and it's one of the reasons why we've tried to include people who've been affected by road traffic offences in our programme as well. OK,
we'll get to the nature of the course very shortly, but just a couple of things I want to ask you. But I mean, listen, driver education is, I think, for most sensible people, it's a no-brainer. And you know, what you're doing is that you're doing driver re-education after the event, after they've done something and they put their hand up and they've got caught or whatever. That's kind of closing the door after the stable. Closing the stable door after the horse is bolted. A lot of people want to know why there isn't driver education before the event.
Actually, I do agree with you. I think that there's a lot of emotional dynamics go into driving itself. You know, I would think that a lot of people behave differently behind the wheel of a car than they would in other social circumstances. I mean, none of us would dream of shouting and screaming at somebody in the street if they're walking a little bit slowly in front of us, you know. Well,
very few of us have complete control over our lives in any sphere anymore. Getting in behind the car, it's the one little space where you're actually in charge. Nobody else can tell you what to do. And maybe that's a large part of it. Just a question for you. This is a course that you do. I know it costs money to do it. Is it about, what is it, 200 quid for the course?
200 euros, yeah.
OK, you set it up in Donegal because Donegal has one of the highest rates of road accident death and also one of the highest rates of reoffending, am I right? You'll be up there at the top.
We're fairly up to high in that,
OK,
in that perspective.
What sort of success have you had?
I would say it's early days at the moment to quote figures exactly. It's been a very encouraging, anecdotally, from what we've heard, very few of our clients have reappeared before.
How many people have you put through your courses already?
I think in the region of 140 now.
And how many of those have reoffended?
I couldn't tell you the exact numbers, but I know that it's very low.
It's in single figures, isn't it?
I would think so, yes, at this moment.
OK, what about, you know, when people get caught and they come up before the court, they will do anything to get off because the loss of their licence, despite the fact that we have a fairly liberal attitude in our courts towards that, because I think judges are very reluctant to take people's livelihoods away from them or means of access to their livelihood, i.e. their transport. What about people using this as a kind of a get out of jail or get out of court?
Actually, I'm glad you asked that question, really, because we are very conscious. Again, this year we won an award from the Road Victims Association, and to sit there during the award ceremony and listen to people who've lost loved ones as a result of dangerous driving behaviour really wants us to get the message across that our programme is designed in such a way that our clients are evaluated at the end of the programme. That evaluation is then sent on to the courts. All of our clients are aware of that before they start the programme. We have a one-to-one meeting with them. We explain the rules and regulations regarding the course. It's not just to come in and sit down and
they can't go in and go, mea culpa, I'm really sorry, here's the 200 quid, now tell the judge I'm really sorry.
No. Everybody has to be there. There's certain areas that we look at. We would mark people on punctuality for one thing, which is a social skill. If you can't be bothered to turn up on time for the course.
So they can't just go through the motions. No, it's a very complex course that you do. And there's a lot of modules. There's emotional control, social responsibility, driving under the influence, and then also you get them to meet people who are the victims of this, so they're fully aware of the effect of their actions.
That includes emergency services too. You have to
so we're not going to get the whole breadth of it in this interview now, but it's worked very successfully in Donegal, and the hope would be that you would roll it out. But you need other authorities and people in other parts of the country to be interested. So where do they go to contact you?
Well, our website is psdpireland.com, so we can be contacted through that.
Okay.
And we're currently in discussions to start rolling out the programme into 2 other counties at the moment. So we hope that will be taking place towards the end of March.
Bit done, a lot more to go. Absolutely. Well, good luck with it. Okay. Now, still to come this morning, acclaimed Irish director Lenny Abrams